After endless chaos, the Infinity Castle falls eerily quiet. In that silence, a presence vanishes, Akaza's presence. Kokushibo stops mid-step, his expression unreadable. He speaks as if disappointed, not surprised. Amid the shifting walls and glowing lanterns, a chilling presence fills the air. Upper rank 2. Doma smiles faintly, his icy breath fogging the space around him. A predator waiting for entertainment. After several of Doma's attacks were dodged and countered by Kanao, Inosuke Hashibira bursts through the ceiling, dual blades flashing. He lands beside Kanao. Together, they fight. Poison and chaos, elegance and rage. After several fierce attacks from Inosuke, Doma suddenly snatched his boar mask and mocked him, saying that the mask was old and worn out. And Doma seemed to recognize Inosuke's face, realizing that his mother was once a follower of the cult he led. And the battle grew even more intense. Doma's icy attacks fill the air, but Kanao's vision, trained through years of discipline, reads his movements perfectly. Inosuke strikes from unpredictable angles, his instincts sharp as ever. Until something strange begins to happen. Doma staggers, his hands tremble, his body starts melting. For the first time, Doma panics. His vision blurs, his voice distorts. He feels the poison, made from the cells of thousands of wisteria flowers, eating him alive from within. As Doma began to weaken, Kanao and Inosuke rushed in to strike off his head, but just before they could finish him, Doma unleashed one last powerful attack. And in that instant, Kanao's eyes shifted, glowing a vermilion eye, a sign that she had pushed her vision to its absolute limit. She slashes his neck, the blade slicing through his melting body. Inosuke joins, crossing both swords. Inosuke's sword pushed Kanao's sword away, and Doma's head falls, shattering like ice. As Doma's body dissolves, he finds himself in a void. There, he sees Shinobu again, smiling gently. The battle ends. Kanao stands amidst the melting ice, her body trembling. Butterflies flutter around her, remnants of Shinobu's will. Beside her, Inosuke laughs in exhaustion. Elsewhere within the shifting depths of the Infinity Castle, Obanai Iguro and Mitsuri Kanroji found themselves face to face with upper rank 4, Nakame. The woman sat silently, her long black hair cascading like shadows, a biwa resting upon her lap. With every note she played, the castle twisted. Walls stretched, ceilings turned into floors, and endless corridors appeared out of nowhere. Nakime's ability was absolute. She could manipulate every inch of the Infinity Castle, moving her enemies, splitting them apart, or crushing them within its endless structure. Mitsuri, with her bright heart and burning determination, clenched her whip-like sword. Obanai, ever calm and calculating, observed every pattern, his serpent Kaburamaru slithering around his shoulders, sensing the enemy's presence. Yet in the chaos, their resolve did not waver. The serpent Hashira and the love Hashira stood side by side, ready to face the musician who ruled this demonic fortress. Meanwhile, Muichiro Tokido, the mist Hashira, found himself thrown into darkness. He fell and fell until the air grew cold and the scent of blood filled the room. A tall figure stepped forward, his long hair flowing like black silk, his 6 eyes gleaming in the darkness. He was shocked to find that before him was the upper moon one, Kokushibo. Muichiro raises his blade, but Kokushibo doesn't move. Instead, he observes, studying the boy in front of him, his expression unreadable. Muichiro doesn't answer. He remembers the stories, tales of a swordsman who turned into a demon, the brother of the man who created sun breathing itself. The air grows heavy. Kokushibo's aura expands, pressing down like a mountain. Muichiro struggles to breathe. His vision warps as the mist thickens around him, yet he holds his sword firm. He whispers to himself, not out of fear but focus. Muichiro took a deep breath. His breathing became rhythmic, calm, like a floating cloud. Muichiro appeared in front of her, a slash aimed at her neck, but she dodged all of his attacks. Kokushibo's eyes narrow, all 6 of them tracking Muichiro's every move. To him, the boy's movements are slow, predictable, yet there's something in his strikes. Clarity, courage, a desperate brilliance that reminds him of the past. He swung his sword once, its force slicing through Muichiro's wrist, sending Muichiro flying backward. Blood began to splatter. Pain surges through his arm, but Muichiro forces himself to stand. He looks up at the towering demon before him, 6 eyes watching with both disgust and fascination. But Muichiro didn't give up. He tied his sleeve tightly around his arm to stop the bleeding, and pressed on with his next attack. With a calm and composed motion, Kokushibo countered Muichiro's attack, driving his blade through the boy's shoulder and pinning him against the pillar, leaving Muichiro hanging helplessly. As Muichiro hung helplessly from the pillar, Genya spotted him and raised his gun to fire. But Kokushibo sensed it instantly, moving faster than Genya could react. Then, Kokushibo unleashed a flurry of slashes, cutting through the air with terrifying speed, until Genya's body was torn apart into several pieces. Kokushibo realized that Genya's body was no longer that of an ordinary human. It bore the traits of a demon. He swung his blade toward Genya's neck, but in that instant, Sanemi Shinazugawa, the Wind Hashira, intervened to protect his brother. The fierce battle began, and realizing that Sanemi could become a true threat, Kokushibo finally drew his blade in full, revealing its terrifying and otherworldly form. But Kokushibo slashed Sanemi's body, and blood began gushing out from him. He realized something was wrong. He felt dizzy, and Sanemi even smiled with delight, knowing that he had a rare type of blood in his body that could make demons feel intoxicated. Sanemi realized that his blood had an effect, even on an upper moon rank one, and immediately used it to launch another fierce attack. The battle intensified, but Kokushibo was still able to read all of Sanemi's movements with his 6 eyes. After Kokushibo attempted to target his neck, Sanemi swiftly blocked it using a gun from Genya and fired, but Kokushibo was still able to deflect it. After Kokushibo launched an attack on Sanemi, he quickly retreated backward to avoid an attack from Gyomei, the stone Hashira. After Gyomei landed his attack, he instructed Sanemi to stitch his wounds so that his blood wouldn't keep flowing while he continued fighting Kokushibo. Meanwhile, Gyomei fought and was able to keep up with his speed, trying to wrap his chain around Kokushibo's neck several times, but in the end, only his sword got entangled and broke. Blow after blow was exchanged by both sides, but the one at the advantage was undoubtedly the upper moon rank 1 demon, whose sword regrew instantly, while Gyomei's face was struck by Kokushibo's attack. But Gyomei was undaunted. He began to push beyond the limits of his body's strength, causing the demon slayer marks to appear on his hands. The battle grew even more intense, and the room trembled as the 2 strongest fighters on each side clashed with full force. After stitching his body, Sanemi immediately joined Gyomei in the fight, and the demon slayer mark appeared on his cheek. Gyomei and Sanemi were perfectly in sync, launching attack after attack at Kokushibo without a single mistake. Sanemi remarked, the pillar training was not in vain. At one moment, Gyomei managed to strike Kokushibo, but only his ear was severed, and Kokushibo successfully dodged the follow-up attack from Sanemi. Attack after attack in combination by Sanemi and Gyomei began to trouble Kokushibo. Eventually, Kokushibo started taking the fight seriously, realizing it would be dangerous to continue underestimating them. One swing from Kokushibo's sword was extremely dangerous if one was careless, and Sanemi Shinazugawa lost 2 of his fingers. His sword appeared to have many branching blades. With a single swing, Kokushibo's sword had an enormous reach, causing great concern even for the strongest demon slayer. When Sanemi was slashed by Kokushibo, he was left vulnerable to the next attack. Luckily, Muichiro Tokito, the Mist Hashira, saved him, having freed himself from the sword lodged in the building's pillar. As the 3 Hashira fought against the Upper Moon 1 demon, Genya was hiding, and it seemed his body had healed. He tried to bite Kokushibo's sword, hoping to gain power equal to that of the Upper Moon 1 demon. One by one, Kokushibo unleashed his breathing techniques, but the strongest Hashira remained unflinching against him. And Gyomei began to feel something different within himself, similar to what Tanjiro experienced, the transparent world. Even though Gyomei was blind, he could see the pulse and flow of Kokushibo's blood. Attack after attack was unleashed simultaneously by the 3 strongest Hashira, yet Kokushibo was still able to keep up with them. With his overwhelming power, he managed to strike back at them. But no matter how strong someone is, there will always be a weakness or an opening to exploit. Just like what Muichiro, Sanemi, and Gyomei did, they managed to land a direct hit on Kokushibo's body. But it came at a great cost for Muichiro Tokito. After losing his arm in the earlier part of the battle, now his leg was severed by Kokushibo's blade. Not wanting to waste the opportunity, the 4 of them immediately launched their next attack together. With the power gained from biting Kokushibo's sword, Genya's gun had now transformed to resemble Kokushibo's own blade. However, Kokushibo was still able to withstand their assault by using his powerful techniques, and of course, with his demon blood, he could regenerate at an incredible speed. And Kokushibo recalled his fierce battle with his younger brother, Yoriichi, a fight he could never win. In his eyes, Yoriichi was the perfect being, someone he could never surpass. Remembering his brother, whom he could never defeat in a true battle, filled Kokushibo with frustration, stirring up his anger. He unleashed a furious barrage of attacks using his blood demon art, and everyone was struck by the onslaught. As a result, everyone around him was blown away away by the force of the attack. With his blood demon art, Kokushibo was able to grow blades all over his body. From that previous attack, the one who suffered the most was Genya, who couldn't dodge in time. His body was sliced in half. While Muichiro held Kokushibo in place to stop him from moving, Sanemi and Gyomei launched their next attack, aiming for his neck, but Kokushibo's neck was far too hard to be severed. But they didn't give up. Sanemi pushed his sword against Gyomei's weapon with all his strength, and together, they finally managed to decapitate the upper moon rank 1 demon. Even though his head had been severed, they continued to attack relentlessly, as Kokushibo's body was still able to move, just like Akaza, who could still fight even after being decapitated. And in the end, Kokushibo's head regenerated completely, but this time, in a different and far more terrifying form. In that monstrous form, Kokushibo caught a glimpse of his reflection in Sanemi's blade. What he saw was horrifying. All he ever wanted was to surpass his younger brother, Yoriichi, the flawless samurai with perfect technique. His body began to weaken after being slashed by Muichiro's sword, which had turned bright red, burning like the sun-breathing technique, causing his internal organs to scorch from within. Followed by attacks from Gyomei and Sanemi, they refused to waste such a crucial opportunity. In the end, Kokushibo was defeated by his own ego and obsession, never once surpassing his younger brother as a true samurai.